Hey guys, I hope you're hungry. Welcome back to War Stories here on the Full Instance channel. My name is Jericho. Today I am joined by both TheIceMann and CyannSentry. And they're both
Hi.
they're both too scared to say hello first, so it's just a horrifying awkward silence until I talk over them both at the same time. Which is what I could have predicted.
Just wait till you guys hear the rest of the episode.
Oh. So today we are here to talk about Doctor Strange. Cyan and I just got home from watching it, and Iceman saw it yesterday. So, what did you guys think for first impressions before we get into the good stuff?
Blown away.
Yep. That was really fantastic. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm. I had, like, at first I didn't really care. Like, Doctor Strange is not a character I know particularly well from the comics. Like, I know a little bit about him.
Yeah.
But not one of my favorites.
Like, I know him from, like, one episode of an animated series of Spider-Man that I watched when I was a kid. And that's about it.
Like, I was interested in that. I like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just want to see them all. Like, I want to watch every movie in the little franchise.
Right.
But I didn't particularly care about Doctor Strange. And then the trailers came out and it looked amazing. So I would say I had pretty high expectations just based on the trailers, but I was really, really pleased with it.
Yeah.
Which is, like, not as... Like, that doesn't sound as positive as I am. Like, I loved it. I thought it was really, really cool.
The first and most obvious thing that I liked about it was just the graphics. The way that they showed the magic, and when they bend reality, that kaleidoscope look, that was really stunning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I understand it, the way they do the magic, like showing the effects of the spells in the air, that's right out of the comic books. So that's like a cool touch.
That's cool.
But yeah, I would say as we were kind of chatting as we were getting ready to start the episode, I said, like, I don't know of a movie that's had like this much visual flair and style since like the first Matrix in like 2000 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is going to be the new like bullet time or whatever that everybody's going to try to copy just because it looks so amazing.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end of the movie. As usual, we'll save like real spoilers for later, but this is just like
general impressions.
Towards the end of the movie, there's a fight in which the fighting is going on in forward time, and the rest of the world is going backwards. It's the coolest looking thing I've ever seen. Like
you've seen before, stuff happening when everything else is slowed down. You've seen it in X-Men. You've seen it in Inception. You've seen it in a bunch of things, but this was different in a wonderful way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you brought up Inception when seeing all the buildings folding up on top of each other. That was very Inception-y.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
but different enough. Like the
better.
curling.
Even.
Yeah, it was definitely better. The way they like fold and curl and everything was just really different.
Mm-hmm. And I think if they had done it the way Inception did, where it was still like kind of obeying the laws of physics, just like it was a map and they were just folding it,
Yeah.
But this was moving and being a kaleidoscope and moving within each other. Like it matched like the thematic thing they were going for of like none of it matters, like infinite possibilities and all. Just like the through lines of the movie, like plot wise.
Mm-hmm. Another great thing about it was the casting.
Oh yeah, for sure. People have been fan casting Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange since the MCU was really a thing, and to me it's like Donald Glover as Lando, or so I will hope, where it's just so perfect. He already looks just like him. Like it makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Everybody wanted to see it, and it ended up being great.
So what about Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One?
Oh, she's so great.
Yeah, she was.
Like, I still that actress, and we had that moment when we were talking about this before we started the episode. That actress still reminds me more of the Ice Queen from Narnia than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But like while I was watching Doctor Strange, like she was the Ancient One. I wasn't thinking that's an actress playing somebody. Like she was the Ancient One.
Right.
I totally agree. To me, I don't know if I've ever said this on an episode before, but I really like James Franco. But one thing I sort of have a problem with is I'm very aware that I'm watching James Franco do a role.
Yeah, I think you might have mentioned that during our 11/22/63 talk.
Yeah. But she is the opposite. She completely disappears into the role. I was reminded of another role I've seen her in that I thought was really incredible is in the movie Snowpiercer.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I didn't know she was in that.
Yeah, she just was like this, like, evil, I don't know. She sort of is kind of like Dolores Umbridge's character in a lot of ways. But
like, she's
so
not
different.
the big bad, but she's definitely an agent.
Mm-hmm. Like, she's so different from that in this. And different from the Snow Queen, too. But, I don't know. She just has so much presence. And I'm really glad. Like, it's a brave, like a really... Like, they could have easily gone with, Chow Yun-fat or any number of Asian or Asian-esque actors to fill the role. But instead, they really wanted to be really memorable and cool.
Yeah, I know some people are upset because it is an Asian role and it's getting taken by yet another white person. But to me, she just fit the role. And if they fit the role, then, oh well.
Also, I kind of like... I mean, I guess it's easy for me to say because I am white, but I kind of like that she wasn't Asian. Like, she's just this otherworldly person, like...
Yeah, and it fits, like, what the story said about, like the Sorcerer Supreme, like, appearing or whatever, like... She isn't somebody that studied it her whole life or is just like an ancient holy person. Like, she found and learned the magic just like everybody else. Like, she's like Steven and like Mordo and all the rest.
So they did several interesting things with Steven's character that I wasn't expecting. I thought he was going to be, pretty straight-laced, follow all the rules, like, I guess Boy Scout kind of thing. But he really, he didn't want to listen. Throughout the whole thing, he rejected the principles and he outright disobeyed a lot of things that he was told not to do. And I thought that was interesting.
So one thing I wanted to say about his character, and Cyan and I were talking about this on the way home. When I was watching the movie, I didn't like that yet another hero has to just, like, tell quips all the time and is always, like, sarcastic and making jokes. Like, he is very similar in personality to Star-Lord and Tony Stark. Like, all of them do it. And Cyan made the point that, well, you can make your point, actually.
Well, okay, so I feel like, maybe you do get a little oversaturated with all these heroes that also happen to be funny and do their little one-liners. But at least in this instance with Stephen Strange, he's this young, hotshot, attractive surgeon who everything that he's ever gotten has come to him pretty easily. And he has the photographic memory. He's kind of hot stuff, So it makes sense to me that he will be somebody who jokes all the time, quips around, just he tries to make people laugh because that's just what he wants to do. That's how he amuses himself. It makes sense for the character to be somebody who does that. I think it would be weird if he didn't.
And I do, like, I came around to her way of thinking. Like, I do agree with that. But, like, it's okay that he is, but I wish so many of them weren't. Or not so many were. Because that feels like a lot. And there were people that complain about, like, some critics or whatever, that this, like, feels like every Marvel movie. Like, it's very much in the mold. But I think it was a really good, like, palate cleanser after Civil War. Like, it's nice to go back to, like, an origin story and a quest and a clearly defined bad guy, and, like, I just want to stop him from doing this bad thing that's going to mess up the world.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, I think, the most because I thought it didn't, like, it felt like a Marvel movie, but it wasn't. Like, I know that doesn't make any sense at all, but
it makes sense to me. Like, it definitely, like, it's in the same universe, but it's not just another superhero who happens to have superpowers and then gets thrown into these crazy situations, and then a big faction comes along and scoops them up. And it was different. It felt different.
And I thought his aversion to violence was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, he was, like, so many of them, like, once they have their power, it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to take out these bad guys now. But, like, he hated it because he's a doctor. Like, he does sort of, like, get over it quickly, I guess. But it was cool that they at least, like, paid lip service to it or whatever. Like, like, he didn't just, okay, well, I guess this is what I do now is murder people.
Right.
Right. So, I can't remember the character's name. Ejiofor?
Oh, Mordo.
He was compelling.
Character.
Yeah, he was compelling to me.
I think that's one thing that this movie has done better than almost every other Marvel movie, if not every single other, is having well-established side characters and villains with their own arcs and their own motivations, and like we really know who they are as people. It's not just the hero and then everything else that happens to them. Like, I feel like I learned something about who Christine was, and I felt like I learned something about who Mordo was, even Wong, and
yeah, I like
Facilius
Wong
as well.
Yeah,
Wong is great. Wong is great.
Yeah, I love Wong. What's the bad guy? Caecilius? Caecilius. He was compelling too, because he really did seem like he was convinced he was doing the right thing. He believed he was saving a lot of lives by killing a few, and he was in the right in all of this.
Yeah, I almost agreed with him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like when he was in that.
For everybody?
Yeah, like when he was in that full body bind thing. I don't know what to call it. That cage.
Yeah.
And like, you know, he literally had tears rolling down his face. Like, of course he believes it fully. He's not trying to trick anybody.
Right.
He's not trying to get power for himself. He's trying to fix things.
So the scene CyannSentry is referencing, like, I guess midway through the movie, maybe like a third of the way through, Doctor Strange and the bad guy Caecilius, who is like a disgraced former student of the Ancient One where Strange gets his powers, they fight, and Strange is able to, with the help of his cloak, which is like
amazing,
the carpet from Aladdin, it has its own personality. So he's able to like get the drop on Caecilius, and he traps him in this like, I don't know what to call it, but it's like a mechanical thing that holds him in place, and Caecilius is telling Doctor Strange like why he did what he did, but you can tell like he believes, like, it's not I just want to kill everybody, or it's not I want ultimate power. Like he thinks this is better for the world. And I guess this is maybe getting a little bit into spoilers, but he tells Strange like, hey, even your precious Ancient One teacher has consorted with this same dark stuff that I'm trying to do, so like don't take her word for it. You need to, like, she always tells you to break the rules. Like, why are you just listening to what she says? Like, everybody had complex, like, I don't know, reasons.
Yeah, she wasn't infallible, which is nice. That's something that you don't always see with the guru, I guess.
Right. Yeah, like Yoda, he's only ever shown as being, just the best and amazing and everything.
Yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, the Ancient One, like, had her own demons and her own secrets and skeletons in her closet and all.
And she had a lot of great lines. So also, something we discussed coming out of the movie, the music was awesome.
Yeah, this had the best score since the first Avengers to me, as far as Marvel movies have gone. Like, it was really memorable. Like, it had a lot of cool influences. Like, I like how it had like the Indian Bollywood-esque kind of music with like the sitar and stuff.
Yeah.
But it also had like classic, like what you would think of as mystic stuff, like Asian, like just like weird, like using the contrapuntal scale. Like, just like it's the sorts of sounds and music that like hits your ear in a weird way. It's not like, it almost sounds wrong, but it still makes sense together. Just to like sort of add to it. But the score was done by Michael Giacchino, who did The Incredibles, which is one of my favorite movie scores ever, and he does most of J.J. Abrams stuff. He's super, super gifted. I would say, besides John Williams, he's one of the best active movie composers in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely one thing that really stuck with me, was the music was really good. And like with the visual style, like this movie just had flair. wasn't afraid to be different and chart new ground, and like how fitting as it, since it's the one that's like finally saying like, yeah, we have a multiverse, so infinite possibilities. I don't know, it was just cool. Like if it had been straight laced and like on the surface, it might not have been as successful.
Right.
So one thing that I really don't know how I feel about, I kind of didn't like, and CyannSentry kind of did like it. I'm interested to hear your opinion, Iceman. How did you, so this is definitely into spoiler territory. So at the end of the movie, one thing I was excited about was that I felt that this movie like wasn't such huge stakes as most Marvel movies have been. Where like, this is just to see, we're going to stop Caecilius right here, and Dormammu isn't going to come. Like, we're just saving Hong Kong. We're saving this one building because they already blew up the other two. I thought that was really cool. But it ends up that that's not the case. The whole world is going to get sucked into the dark dimension. Like, it really is high stakes. It's okay, whatever. So Doctor Strange, he uses the Eye of Agamotto, which contains the Time Infinity Stone, which is one of the ones that Thanos is looking for, to basically like trick Dormammu, where like he could just infinitely come back to life, so he convinces Dormammu to just leave the planet alone. So the thing I did, like, I think it's weird that he defeated this like godly, unknowable entity by just like being annoying for a while.
I love it. I think that's brilliant. I think it fits his character. I think it fits the character of the big bad,
Dormammu.
like, yeah, Dormammu. I feel like it's really different. Like every other one, they either get tricked out of their power, or they get beaten to a pulp, or they just get like closed off somehow. But this one, he gave up because his antagonist was just that annoying and that persistent and that stubborn. So I don't know. I really liked that. It was different and it was funny and it made sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with what you say, but I just I
mean, how else are you going to defeat something like that? Like,
yeah.
you can't overpower them. There was no really any way to outsmart him. So, what did he have but his own tenaciousness?
So what did you think of it?
I mean, yeah, I definitely see both arguments. I think I do like it though. I thought it was funny at first, like, oh, he just annoyed him. Okay. And then I thought about it more. I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I like that. This is a pretty powerful guy. Would he get annoyed that fast? But the more I think about it, he's kind of. I remember thinking the same thing you did, Jericho. Like, oh, we're just going to defeat these guys. The big bad guy's not even going to come into play right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would have been perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I definitely would have too. But just my point being that since he did have to defeat the big bad, that's how they went about it. I like that. But no, I would have been happy if they had just left it the smaller scale and worked up.
Yeah, I guess with it. Go ahead.
Sorry, all I was going to say was, but since they did bring him into things, he's a pretty cliched, big, giant, cosmic comic book.
Yeah, definitely.
So may as well beat him in a different way that's kind of silly and never been done before.
That's true.
And like CyannSentry says, it totally fits him and made sense for the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah, I guess, like, with it being a given that they had to use him for whatever reason, yeah, that's better than him just, like, punching him or whatever. And it's cool, like, he could come back. Like, it would be interesting to see, like, if he would be on the side of Thanos or against him, like, as Thanos is trying to get the Infinity Gems, because they're both, like, just unbelievably powerful multiverse entities. Like, how would they... Like, I don't know. I guess I'm sort of coming around to it, but I just wish he hadn't been in it at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
So we're gonna be able to beat Thanos the same way, right? Just keep reversing time.
Yeah, and that's like
that's it, right?
That's the other thing. Like, time travel is so. That's why J.K. Rowling had them destroy all the time turners in the 5th book, is because time travel is just like, and I mean like
endless loopholes.
Yeah, and Mordo and Wong were like, "Hey, you shouldn't have done that." And he's like, "Yeah, I guess not, but still I gotta hang on to it though." I don't know. Maybe in the next one, like they'll have some good reason why. And that was like Mordo's whole point is like the bill is still coming. Like you can't just do that.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sure that's coming in the next movie.
I think they should like have Doctor Strange's love interest die and like it be unable to be stopped. Like he just sets in motion, or even somebody else's love interest. Like, so that the other Avengers are like, you can't do it ever again, like, we'll stop you, you know? Like or something, you know?
Yeah,
like a really compelling reason, like that, to really teach him. So, one other point I really wanted to make. So, I don't know, like I said, a whole lot about Doctor Strange, but I do know that Mordo, or Baron Mordo, as he's always called in the comics, is, like, Doctor Strange's main enemy. He's like Loki to Thor. So, it was no big surprise to me that he was like by the literal very end, because it was in the after credits scene that we knew for sure that he was really going bad. But I really liked seeing them on the same side for the whole movie, though. And I wouldn't have minded it lasting a little bit longer.
That's really going to make the next movie, when they're fighting against each other, feel more weighty.
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't know anything about Doctor Strange, so I didn't know that he was supposed to be bad. So seeing that, I was like, oh
no, so
sweet.
I think he kind of lost his purpose a little bit, though. Like, at first, you know, okay, well, I don't agree with you bending the laws of nature, so I'm going to fight against you. That makes sense. But this is a major spoiler. At the very end, he basically says there are just too many sorcerers. So he's just going to kill them all?
Well, I guess, like, the laws of nature have to be upheld. That's what I really believe. And I can't trust the sorcerers to do it, because they're just going to do whatever the hell they want. So therefore, I have to kill all the sorcerers so that the laws of nature stay upheld no matter what.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what wacky adventures he'll be up to. And I really loved that actor. He was awesome in Serenity, the Firefly movie.
Which, he's pretty much the same character.
Yeah, kind of.
A little more to him in this, but I mean, down to the swords, you know.
Right.
But that's pretty cool.
All right, so either of you guys have any closing thoughts on Doctor Strange?
Definitely go see it.
I think this might finally be the one, this movie, that makes me like a diehard Marvel fan.
Ooh.
Oh, wonderful. That's
I think this was the one. It's so good. This might be my favorite Marvel movie ever.
Oh, good.
Wow.
I'm gonna give that more time. I'm not gonna say it is, but it could be.
I don't know if I would go that far, but it definitely, like, it's better than any Thor movie. Better than I prefer it to any Iron Man movie probably. But it really, like the flair, like the audiovisual flair, goes a really, really long way.
It does.
I really appreciated the back to basics approach while also expanding on the Marvel universe as a whole, which this movie did so well. But I guess that'll about do it. Thank you guys both so much for joining me. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe to the Full and Sense channel. We have something coming every single day. We got war stories like this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you to IceMann and CyannSentry for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
And that'll about do it for us today. I don't know about you guys, but we're all full.